Hello and welcome back to the probably last video of the programming bootcamp, at least in the main part of it. Hi, Nora.
Hi.
In this episode, let me share the screen. We are going to talk about Jupyter Notebook. So far, we started out with editing files with Notepad++, and then we saw how to use PyCharm, which is similar, but has a lot more understanding to what Python is. Jupyter Notebook is a totally different environment for writing not only Python code, but right now we are going to focus on Python code. Okay, so let me go to the slides. Jupyter Notebook. It just says Jupyter Notebook. Okay, and we have a bunch of slides, and most of them are primarily just bring me to know which file to open, because the interesting content is in the files. So Jupyter Notebook, here is the link to the website. Lots of interesting things, but just showing you the website. It's basically a web-based interactive development environment. That's how they call it. If you have Anaconda, you probably already have installed it. If not, then you can just type in pip install Jupyter and you get Jupyter Notebook. And then that's for Windows. For Linux, in case someone is trying to use Linux, then you probably want to install the virtual environment, set up a virtual environment, and then install in the virtual environment. Still, it's pip install Jupyter. Okay, we haven't talked about the virtual environment because we're not talking about Linux too much here, but maybe that's going to be an add-on video if it's interesting. Okay, so if then you can run Jupyter Notebook either if it's an Anaconda, then you can come to the regular Windows starter and type in Anaconda, and then it will offer. Actually, it doesn't offer me. What it's going to offer. Yeah, here it is. For I don't know. Previously, I think I didn't see. So you can say Jupyter Notebook Anaconda 3. Okay, that's one way to start it, and then it will open you this nice black window. It's still running there. Okay, it's just like in the command line application. So it's running in there in that window, but it also opened the browser. Okay, so let me just close this window so I won't get confused by the logos. So it opens a browser to localhost. And the name localhost is always pointing to your own computer. Okay, so basically Jupyter Notebook right now is running a web server on your notebook, or in case just mine, and I can access it. And it is configured that other people won't be able to access it from the outside world, but it's just in your browser. And so there is this thing that's running here. Don't close it, because this is where the actual Python code runs. So this is a web application, just as you would go to, I don't know, Google, and then type in some, and then the server runs on their servers. The Python code, let's say, runs on their servers. In this case, it runs on our computer. So we can minimize it, but don't close it. And this opens it in a directory, which is, I have no idea where are we. So basically it shows the content of my file system. So this is my own user, I guess, directory, because the desktop is here and the downloads is here. So this is the same directory as I have my own home directory, C users, Gabor Sabo. And so now I can come here and get into the work directory, where I have the slides, and then within the slides I have Python somewhere, Python examples, and Jupyter. Okay, I needed to do this because I ran Jupyter Notebook from the prompt, and I wanted to get to where the files are. Okay, so I can use them. You don't need to do this. You can also actually run the Jupyter notebook by going to the regular command line of Anaconda and typing in Jupyter notebook here. And then it will start running, and it will show the directory structure of this directory, the current directory. So because here I'm inside the examples Jupyter directory, that would be the default. So I guess probably you will have some directory where you store all of your Jupyter notebooks files. And then you can start it from the command line that way. Or you just get there. Okay, so first of all, what do we have here? Before I start opening the files, let me show you how you create a file. So you come here to the right side, there is a new button, and then new down, and inside you can select what type of notebook you would like to start. And by default, it says Python 3. You could install other environments be inside, but we do not care. We just care the Python 3 now. What it opens you another window in the Jupyter notebook, so you still can go back in the browser and see the files. But then I have here the one that I just opened, and it says it's called untitled. Okay, so I think, I'm not even sure. Yes, so if you scroll down in the directory, it created a file called untitled.ipynb, and it's green because it's currently running here. Okay, there's something what they call the kernel, which is actually the process behind this. And here we'll talk quite a bit about this. That the first thing I would probably suggest is that you come here, click on the untitled name, and rename it, let's say, to demo, or whatever file name you would like, and then rename. And if I go back to the files here, the untitled disappeared, and there's the demo now. It's just that you won't have many untitled files one after the other. And now you have this window, and we'll go through a couple of these things. In this window, I put in the mouse, and I can type in Python code. So I type in x = 2. I can now run it by, and first I'm going to show you everything with the mouse, and then I'm going to show you how to use the keyboard. Okay, which I can't really show, but I can explain what I'm doing. Okay, so I type in just some stuff here, and then I can click on this button, run, or I'm not sure where it's in there, file, somewhere it's probably inside also, but here I can click on the run, and then it executed the code. Now you could see that earlier there was an empty square bracket, now it says 1. Even if you didn't notice, then you'll see it. Now you say y = 3, let's say, you see it's empty. Now when I click on run, this says 2. The number, the fact that there's a number means that this piece of code was executed. Okay, and now I can, let's say, check what is in X. So I type in X and then run it. And I don't even have to say print, it automatically prints it out or shows it here, the output. And I can do calculations, x plus y, and run it, and then it executed, and the result is printed out there. Okay, so basically now you have an interactive way to write code. Of course, all the time using the mouse is a little bit, I mean, you're typing and playing with the mouse, playing the mouse. It's much better if you learn how to use the keyboard, especially in this environment. In general, I recommend that, but especially in here. So first of all, you, I don't know if you know if you could see it, but right now there is a green mark here. Okay, and now I can type in stuff here. If I press escape, it gets blue, and now I can't actually type here. The cursor is not there. If I press the enter, then it becomes green again, and then I type in again. Also, if I press escape and if I put the mouse inside, that's also the same thing. I clicked on the mouse. Now I press escape. Basically, the Jupyter Notebook has two modes of work. One is called the command mode. It's when this line is blue, and in this time, various keyboard buttons do all kind of interesting things. Soon we'll discuss what kind of interesting things. You can give commands to the whole UI. And if you're in edit mode, so now I press enter and I get into edit mode, and now I can type in code. Okay, so let's say I type in x times 2. How can I run this? I can run it with the mouse, clicking here on run, but much better if I press Control Enter, and then it executes it. Okay, so the enter, and now it's in blue, right? It's in command mode. So now in command mode, if I click on the arrows, I can go up and down these boxes. And for example, let's say I get this box back, and I would like to edit it, change it. So I press enter. I don't need the mouse anymore. And now I got into edit mode. Now, if I press the enter here, actually, then it goes to the new line here. So I can write multiple lines of code in here. So let's say I type in x times 2 and then x times 3. Okay, and now I press Control Enter. What it gives you is the result of the last computation. Okay, and the first one, x times 2, it was done, but the result you can't see. We didn't put the result in anywhere, so it's sort of useless for now. So let's say I say x equals this way. Okay, so now I can run it again, and now I get back 12 because that's x multiplied by 2, right, and then multiplied by 3. So what do you think what will happen if I click enter now and run it again?
I suppose it shouldn't it be the same thing, or does it take x back again? Aha, okay.
So x is just a variable, it was updated, and now x it was whatever was there.
It was 12, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Why is it?
No, it was no, sorry, it became 4.
Yeah, it was 4. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because,
now
it was also confusing me for a second.
Yeah.
Right. So x was 4 because the second operation, x times 3, didn't actually change x.
Yes.
It gave the result. So this can be really confusing because of this. I'm glad that we actually fell in that confusing thing, because that just points you that you have to be careful what you do. And there is one major thing that is now really bad. I mean, you can save this as it is right now and then give it to someone, and that person will see 24, but won't be able to actually replicate this value, recreate this value, because if now I execute just once every one of them, I won't then get this 24. I have to execute this twice. Okay, and even if I remove this now, not this one, sorry, this line, okay, let's just remove it. Okay, I press escape and I press DD, and it removes the whole block. Okay, I have no idea why DD. Actually, I know that it's the editor VI that I'm using a lot, and it's coming from there, this edit mode. That means DD means remove the current line. And now, I mean, this code, it's actually obviously incorrect. I mean, we can keep using X, but we never give it the value. So if I give this code now to someone and they try to rerun the whole thing, it won't work. For let's see it. If I can just go and say the kernel, so I say restart the whole kernel. Actually, yeah, restart the whole kernel. This will forget everything calculated and start the whole thing again. Actually, I can now also clear all the output, and then I can go and start running them, each one of them. And it already got an error because X is not defined. Okay, so we have to be careful that if you change the history of it, then maybe you need to rerun the whole thing and see if it's still working. Okay, so okay. Now let's get back the mouseless mode. So let's click question mark, not question mark, sorry, H. I keep forgetting that. H. I clicked on H, okay, and I got this pop-up that explains what is the command mode that you can get there with escape. And if you scroll down, there is what is the edit mode and what can you do in edit mode. Okay, what are the key combinations? Okay, so this is how you can get and learn more how to use the keyboard in Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so one of the things that I can do is add a new box where I can edit. So I can press either A to add the box above, or B to add the box below. So now I am at the top box. I click on A, it opened the box at the top or above it, and still in command mode. Now I press enter and I moved to edit mode. So I can give it the X equal 2, just to put it back. Okay, and then I also execute it. So we'll have it there. I come down to this one, execute this row just to make sure. And now I can execute this row. Okay, I'm just clicking on the arrow and then Control Enter. And this is how I execute each one of them. And then this one. Okay, good. So now we can save it. I don't know. I guess there is keyboard for that. I don't remember that one. File, and I can save. Actually, I think it's already saved now. But yeah, I think it's already saved. It automatically saves all the time. But here's the, if we really want, this is the, you can save it here. Okay, so what is this file now? Let's go to the file explorer. We were here, it's in examples, Jupyter, and we have the demo, and I'm going to open it with Notepad++, so we can see what is inside. So this is this format is called JSON, okay, which is just a standard format to save data, a very flexible format to save data. And here you can see the description of each one of the cells, even the result cells. Okay, so this is not the execution count. Somewhere is the result. I think this is the result of something. Okay, so even the cells that were results are saved in this file. Okay, but you can't run this file with anything else except of Jupyter Notebook. So you can load it with Jupyter Notebook, and there you can execute the cells. But with just regular Python, you can't do this. So, okay, so what is Jupyter Notebook good for? It's very good for interactive exploration of data, of code. It can be quite useful for teaching. So I have all the examples, and then I just one by one show and how to execute them. So these are, but that's, let's say for development, that's the interactive development part. And then once you have your code, you can create, you can switch over to PyCharm and actually move the code over there. Also, I mean, you don't put in regular Python, you will need to print out something with print if you would like to see it. You can also say click on File and download as, and download as a Python file, and then it will save all the code snippets as a Python file, and then you can go from there, okay, and start editing it. My idea, I think the right way to do this is that to write code here, write even your functions if you are exploring, and then move over everything to, sorry, to modules. I have to drink. Move over everything to modules, and then to, if you would like to verify within Jupyter Notebook and it's still doing the same, you can here say, okay, above, you can say use something, okay? Sorry, not use, import. Now I'm just confused with another language. Import, what shall we import? Pandas or SPD, okay? And then I click on it, now it imported. So just by typing, it's not importing. Now it imported. And now I can start using pandas, PD something, okay? So the same way I could import my own code. And that first I write here, move to the module, and then I restart the whole thing, and by now importing some of my code from there, and then keep working on it. Okay, so that can be a mode of how we work. Okay, let me switch back to the slides to see what other things I wanted to show. Okay, so we created a new one, untitled and renamed it, typed in some code. Blue and green edit modes. Okay, we talked about it. Enter and escape and control enter, we talked about. Clear cell data before saving. Okay, so I showed you how to clear the cell data, okay, by saying clear all output clear, okay? And so now if I save this file, it will contain all the cell data. Now it's not all the resulting data as well, not only the code. Here this is not a lot, but think about it. Maybe you loaded some data and then printed out some from pandas, let's say these pandas, then printed out all the Excel files now in your output, okay, or part of the Excel file. You created an image, you loaded an image, you displayed an image here. Then now the image is part of the notebook, so it's going to become quite big, the notebook itself. So sometimes it's good to save it as it is because you would like to keep working on it and you don't want to rerun everything again and again. But if you'd like to store it for longer term, or especially if you're using version control and you'd like to save it into version control, then I'd definitely recommend first clearing out all the results and then saving only the data only the code that you actually wrote. That also enforces that next time when you start it and run the whole thing, you actually also check that you didn't make any of these mistakes, that maybe you removed something, that you rely on it, or ran something twice and then and it wouldn't work anymore. So that's also a good idea to do that. Okay, H we saw, A and B. So to the buttons to add above and below a row, and then quit in order to close this, I'll save it, okay, and then I can close this specific window now. So right now you see this is green, it's still green, and now I can say it close and halt. This will stop this specific file. So I could open here another one, and several of these notebooks at once in separate tabs. And when I say here file close and halt, that's for that specific one. And now it's not green anymore. Okay, the Jupyter notebook is still running. Okay, so here in the background is still running. Okay, it's just the kernel was shut down, that specific kernel. Okay, and if I would like to quit this, then I can click quit, and this closed. You can see, you don't see the window anymore. Okay, that black, I can't switch to it because it's not there. Okay, so it shut down the actual server. And I mean, sometimes it happens that it doesn't shut down because maybe some bug or something, maybe I didn't do it correctly or some other reason. Then you can just close that window and that's it, or Control C, or just closing the window. That will kill that process anyway. I definitely wouldn't do that when you are still editing, because then it's something might be only in your browser and not saved yet, and then you lose that data. Okay, so now I can close this window. I don't need it anymore, and I can go to the next example. Okay, so here we talk. Here I mentioned that it's a JSON format. This is actually, so you can have various explanations. This is the explanation, the definition of JSON. It's just a funny way to show, but basically JSON is a format to store dictionaries of lists of dictionaries of, so this data structure that you could create in Python. And the nice thing about JSON specifically is that it originated from JavaScript. That's JavaScript object notation. That's the name of it. But right now, I don't know, 100 or more languages can interact with it. So you can save your JSON, your data as a JSON file from Python, let's say, and then you can write it some other language, some code that will read it. And so that's the format that Jupyter Notebook is using behind the scene. We don't need to go and understand it, but it's good to know that's how it works. Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show this. I left it in the slides, but at one point I tried this thing and it worked, and it later didn't work. So in PyCharm, you probably got used to the fact that you type in some code and dot, and then it will start offering you things. Something similar can be done or enabled in Jupyter Notebook by this configuration. And I won't show it now because I'm not, at one point it stopped working for me and I didn't know if I don't understand. So you might be able to figure it out for yourself. I'm not going to go in there now. Let's see a couple of these examples that we have already. So I have now just the names of the files I would like to show. I would like to show you. So now in this time, I switch to this window and say Jupyter Notebook. Here I'm in the directory where all the examples are. Okay, and it's a good opportunity to show you that it works both ways. Okay, so now going back, this window, the one where we started, here I can see this output. It didn't open an extra window because it didn't need to. But it opened the browser, and now it opened in that directory. So I didn't have to just get inside there. And the first one I wanted to show is the add file. So I just click on it, it opens a new tab, and here is the file. And the file is really simple. It just has this function. So it's empty right now, so it didn't execute yet. I can come in, Control Enter, it executed. So now I have an add function. Come here, enter, and it runs the function. So you can also write functions. You can write anything there.
Could you just execute the second block without executing the first one first? Well, or would it execute the whole thing?
So let's try. So now we did it first and the second. So I'll restart now the kernel to see what happens then, as if we've just loaded the file. Okay, I also clear the cells. Okay, this is like as if we reload the file. So now I put the enter of the mouse here and click on Control Enter, and it executes that box. But of course it fails because the add function is not defined yet. Okay. So this shows that it didn't execute the first one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And now I can go and shut it down because I don't need it anymore. It will ask me if I want to leave because now I have unsaved things here. The output definitely is unsaved. So I just say, just leave it. I just wanted to close it, and I don't care about that example anymore. The planets. So you remember that we had in the pandas, we talked about this planet CSV. So let's see what can we do with this. So we have also here the planets. Oops, I can't type planets. Planets. That's the CSV file is here. I can click on it. Did I click on it? Yeah. So then it opens in the Jupyter Notebook, so I can see the Excel file if I really want to. But I probably don't. I can click on the planets Jupyter Notebook, and here you can see all the code. Now, what you can see, this one is some text. Okay, let's try this. So now I'm going to add above it some text, a box. Here I can type "Hello World." Now this is code. You can see this is code. Here you can see this is the type of this box is code. If I press now escape, okay, I get into command mode. I can press M and it switches to Markdown mode. Okay, I could also do it with the mouse here, of course. Okay, but that's boring. Okay, so Markdown is there to write text. And then I guess, no, sorry, I have to come here I can, let's say, hello world, okay, and then it's going to become bullet points. Okay, so here this is also a markdown. Okay, and then it can bullet points and whatever. So you can use the markup language to add some text, some explanations to your notebook. So it's not only code, but also some explanation around it. Okay, so now we are importing some modules. Okay, okay, I'm going to restart now. Okay, so I can show you. Restart. Actually, restart and clear output. Okay, so I don't need to do both separately.
What happens to these markdowns when you save this file as a Python file? Do they become comments?
Comments, I think, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So now if you look at this, now it's empty. For a short second, it's going to be a star there. Control Enter, and now it's number. So it's a star when the code is actually running, and it becomes a number when it's done running. And that's useful to remember because sometimes some code will just be running so long that you don't know what's going on. And then by the star, you can know that it's still running. Now, of course, if it's an infinite function, infinite loop, then it will never stop. And then I guess you can click on this button to stop it. Here in this one, I think. But maybe it was just some long running code. So it's good to know that it's running. Okay, and then we can go on and we read the CSV file. So you won't see any new thing here code-wise, just that you see, I didn't have to write print. It just prints out the content like this. And then I can, all the things that we had there, I just click on the down arrow and then Control Enter to execute it. Okay, so this is the type, and then the columns, and the types. So all the information that we saw earlier, but this time inside so you can interactively type in these pieces of code and see what the result is. And of course, you could also then delete them if you decide, okay, I saw that, I understand, I don't really need that information anymore. And just go on the describe. Okay, so this is the describe. So this is the data, the statistics, and then sort values. And I mean, we can go on. Actually, I do want to go on to see if that works. Last one. So we are sorting this one, then sorting different way. Okay, I just tried to execute this one. It didn't work because it's just text. Control Enter. So this is how to get a column, how to get more columns. Okay, how to select various data. So this is okay. So here I don't make changes, so it's not really interesting to show. This is going to be interesting here. The selector, get maybe even this one. So now it starts being interesting. I hope it will work. I haven't checked it. So SNS is the short name of the Seaborn graphical package. Where here we are. So this I just called SNS set, and now I can click on this one, and it created a graph. Okay, so it's a plot with X is the distance in AU and Y is the mass. Okay, so what SNS set is basically make some configuration of colors and sizes and whatnot. Okay, and then the SNS rel plot gets the titles of the two axes, and yeah, that's good. What is the name of them, right? And the data from the data frame, and then it can draw the graph. Okay, and I think there is something here. Yes, it resized it. Okay, and then some extra code that added the names here. Okay, in really, really small, and even here you can't see them. So there is a really good reason why I don't show graphs usually, because my graphs are really, really bad. Okay, and there is another way to do the same, to add this graph, the text on the graph, a little bit more complex here. And the rest of the computation that you might remember from the pandas chapter. If not, then well, go and learn it there. But it's just doing the same just here in the Jupyter notebook. So now, just to again, if we save this file now, it will save the whole image in the Jupyter notebook. Which is not really necessary. I mean, this is the idea that you can recreate it anytime you would like. So we don't want to save your results usually, unless we are now going and publishing in some paper or some report, and then we need the images. Okay, so that was the planets example. What else do we have? So okay, so we have the Jupyter, the SatckOverflow, which is this file is the one. The other two, I think I'm going to get rid of them later. There's the SatckOverflow example. And this is in the subdirectory called SO for some reason. That too, I will probably move out. So here you can also see that it can draw the histogram here. Again, it's using the Seaborn library to do that. I guess I won't go over that for now. One thing that you might notice that here I have a hard-coded file name, which is in general not really a good idea, because now the only person who can run it is the person who has a user's Gabor, and then there the file is there. So you have to ensure it. So it's probably better to I mean, that's one of the problems of how do you get input for this, and usually don't want, but you maybe you would like to put it relatively to where the Jupyter notebook is located. Okay, but that's one thing that you have to pay attention, that here usually people put hard-coded file paths, because that's how it works. So we'll have to change it in order to use this data set. Okay, so that's the one. Now I got myself into this directory. So here I guess these two dots. Let me go one directory up. If I click on it, yes, okay. So next example is the scipy image file. Here we are. So scipy, I'm loading scipy. Executed, loaded, and then I say that the scipy MISC module get the face image. So scipy, this library has a one image or a couple of these default data sets, for example, an image. So just you can play with it. And I'm going to run this, and I get an error. And I was surprised when I tried it just before the video why I get this error, but figured it out that I guess I have a newer version maybe of scipy, and that's why it on my computer where I wrote this and where it worked, and that version already can do this. This version needs me to from scipy import MISC, and then here I just call MISC. Okay, now I have to rerun this part of code to have the from scipy, and now I can run it, and now I get the image. Okay, so this loads the image to this variable, and the PLT, the matplotlib tool here, shows the image. Okay, so this is one of the default images that they have in the scipy library. I guess it's a raccoon, right? I can't hear you now, but you seem to be in agreement.
No, I was just saying that you would expect them to put a snake, not a raccoon, but okay.
Okay, so Okay, so what you would like to try here, you can actually ask what is in the deer's MISC. Now it's not there, so you can ask what else is in this MISC. Okay, so I just regularly what you would do in Python. Okay, so there's the phrase, I have no idea what the others are. Okay, so typeface, what is the type? Well, that's actually a NumPy array. So an image was just loaded, and an image is just an NumPy array. So what is the shape of this NumPy array? It's this is the size of the image, and the third dimension has 3 values for red, green, and blue. So basically, it's just the pixels in 3 colors, separated into 3 colors. Okay, and this is the size of the image, 768 times 1028. Okay, and here you can see it in smaller one. Actually, here are the numbers. You see, 1028 and 700 here. Okay, so what can we do with this? Actually, how can I get rid of this now? Okay, I get rid of that one. I can get rid of that one. I can get rid of that. Maybe I want, okay. I have, is there an undo here? I actually don't know. Edit, undo deleted cells. Okay. So maybe there's also a keyboard, maybe you would do that. Let me try that now. DD, U, no, that doesn't work. Okay, so edit, undo. Okay. So not everything, okay, but we can undo at least the cells that we removed. So what we have here now is that we have this NP copy, so the NumPy copy, and we take the face, which is just an array, an NumPy array, and create a copy. The reason I do that, so I can play with the same original data again and again. And what I do here is put some values in this array now. And then I show the image at the bottom. So Control Enter. And you can see a black line here. This is what we just put in. So we change the image. And then I can make another one here. So that's the reason I have it. So I can do it again and again. So it starts again. Now I got many of these lines. Because you remember, this is an array that has from, yeah, so every 20, it says basically every 20 rows put in this number. Okay, and then you can go on and play with all kinds of other ways to address the locations in the array. And this is how you can access the actual data, the color information of this image. So for example, you can this way, you can, well, now I'm changing just the image. So here I have no idea, vertical line. I think it's here, this one, right? Yeah, and this is going to be, even though I wrote here red, this is probably not red. Okay. It doesn't look red. So yeah, there are problems here. Okay, so the numbers, the text here and the actual value is different. Okay, so you can play around now and see it. But one of the things that people did with this is what we can easily do, for example, is to, or I'm not sure easily, but what you can do is put a rectangular or some area that you would wanted to highlight. Or you can actually go over the data and try to find an area where there is a lot of black, okay, of an image, right, and things like this. So people, I saw researchers what they did. They have these images of, I don't know, a mouse doing something, or some other animals, or some whatever, fruits doing something, okay, and then trying to take, and they have lots of pictures, lots of images, and then they try to locate various things, let's say how the differences between two pictures, for example, where the ends are. That was one of the, they had like ends and they wanted to figure out the direction of each end. So they used these tools, but suddenly you can understand that an image is just a set of numbers. Okay, so that's one, the scipy image. What is the next one we have here? Okay, that's just a short one, create random image. So I have here a create random image. So I'm just using NumPy, loading it, and then I generate a random matrix, and it's basically black and white, but just using this color. So, and that's it now. If I run it again, it will be different. Okay, and then I have no idea what to do with it, but researchers love this. So, okay. What else do we have here? And I mean, for me, that's a nice thing that you can see that just plain numbers and suddenly become images, and how the connection between the two. Okay, so how can we load now an image? And there are probably various ways to load an actual image from the disk. This is in the load image using OpenCV example. One of them is the OpenCV library. Where is it? It's here. Oh, I put the checkbox on, check mark on it. I didn't want that. Okay, so for this, I need to import the CV2 module. In order to have this now, I didn't have it in the Jupyter, in the Anaconda. So on the command line, I typed in this one, pip install opencv-python, waited a couple of minutes because it's a big package until it downloaded and it installed it. Okay, so that's it. But when I import it, I call it CV2. So I imported both that and the matplotlib, and then I have this file here that I wanted to load. But again, this is on my Linux computer, hard-coded. So let's look for an image. Any recommendation? Are you looking for what image to look for?
I really don't know.
An animal, what kind of snake? You would like to have a snake?
Well, yeah, a python.
A python. Which is a python? This is a nice one, okay?
It's very pretty, yes.
Okay, visit website. This, I don't know, how can I get just the image? That's, well, this is a good one. No, I didn't want to subscribe, and I don't know what's going on, why I can't click on the image. Because it's Windows. Okay, now somehow I managed to click on the image. Okay, in Firefox, that would be just right click. And I can now save image as, and that's, this is the name. It's in the it's going to be in the downloads directory. Okay, for now. And I can come to my other window here. And here I can type in the name of the file, but I also have to give and it's row string. So, and it's a users Gabor Sabo, which is my home directory, and downloads. That's where downloads, yeah, this is where the file is. And now I already loaded this one, so I can type in, run it. So this one loaded the file and tells me that whatever I got back is an NumPy array. And then I can actually ask it to show, this is the content of the NumPy array, okay? Or the beginning of, so just little value. And then I can ask it to show it. And now I have it. So now I have that image as a NumPy array, any random image. And then I can just ask what is the shape of, well, it's not the shape of the snake, it's the shape of the image of the snake. So this is the size of the image and the 3 colors. And now I can just do whatever. Actually, there are 2 snakes here. Okay, so you can do whatever you like with this now. And I guess there are other ways to open. So OpenCV itself is a huge library. Okay, and then there was the link of the No idea. Okay, so you can do stuff, very interesting stuff with it. Okay, people do really, really interesting stuff with OpenCV. And then there is a link to the Python module that wraps the OpenCV library. So OpenCV, I guess, is just a library in C or C++, and OpenCV wraps it around the OpenCV Python, so you can use it from Python. And you probably can use it from other languages as well. Yes, and this is just a list of a bunch of other examples that I can't show now because I don't remember them. Actually, are there something? No. So you can check out some of these examples. They are all in the files. I put that here on the list, so I will go over them and create more examples. Very interesting things. But that's it. Any questions? Let me
this is something that one has to start using.
Yes.
In order to have questions.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's something. So the now you have 3 tools at least to how to edit your code. So it's depending on what you do, and it's hard enough to do it with one thing. But so what we saw, let me just review it. So we saw both how to use the Jupyter notebook, and we also, and why it can be useful. So because it's interactive and I can immediately see things. And I didn't emphasize, so because I just maybe I slightly skipped over that part, the SatckOverflow example. So in this case, when we load this file, it's in the memory. So I just type in some more code, and it doesn't have to reload the data every time. So it's going to be, the interaction is going to be much faster. When you saw some data and then you figure out, you would like to see it in a different shape, on different change, then it's much faster, especially if you have a lot of data that you already have in the memory. Okay, so that's it. I think with this, more or less, we finished the course. Do you want to say something?
Actually, just one thing came to mind. Do you usually use multiple of these text editors or IDEs, or do you just use one mainly?
I personally mainly use an editor called VI, which is, in these terms, it's much lower level, but because it's much faster, I write code much faster in it because I got so used to the keyboard layout. So what are exactly the same ideas that you have here, that you can learn each shortcut. And so in that editor, you have lots of shortcuts, and I got used to it. And I also don't do much of this data science / image processing things. So I don't need the visualization of these, and I usually don't do that. So that's the reason I don't use it. Other people, I hear that they use usually both for different tasks. So when they're doing this research of data, then they use Jupyter Notebook. And then if the same people actually write code for production, then they might switch to PyCharm. But many times people are either this or that, because some people are the researcher, let's say, and they primarily use just the Jupyter Notebook to research data. And they never get to the point where, or rarely get to the point that now we would like to run this hundreds of times. When you get there, I guess it's much better to use PyCharm. And Notepad++ was there only to show you the beginning, to start using it to show you the separation. Actually, I just remember that I don't know if I missed that set of slides or what, but I don't know. Somewhere I skipped over slides, or I removed them by chance. I don't know. I wanted to show you one more thing here. Yeah, I just have to find this one. I don't know where the slides are.
That was going to be the next slide.
It was, so there were more slides here. Oh, right. There are more slides. Oh, Okay, I thought that was the last slide, and just the rest of it. Okay, so this is the next slide. So there's the IPy widgets, which I have a really small demo for it, and actually was one that we have to edit because it's not written. So it allows you to create some interactivity with your Jupyter notebook instead of using a GUI. And so now I just loaded this one, and here I have a bunch of functions, but I don't need all of them. So let's edit this. So what I do is I switch to edit mode. I take all these examples. I only need the first one, but I will need later on the others. So I move them here. Okay. And then escape, up arrow, enter. I'm just saying what I do because you can't see it. And I remove that part, and then, sorry, enter. These two, I don't need them, or rather, pressing B to add a new box, enter, and then pasted it here. Another thing is that for some reason I have this semicolon. I think you don't really need that. I don't know why I had there. And let's further edit them, further split them. Right. Cell. There is somewhere, I don't remember where, split cells. Yes. Maybe I even left. I don't remember. Maybe I forgot that the reason I had that in together so I can show this feature. Now I just remembered. So you can, if you have these cells, you can split the cells in various places. And no, I can't. You can't move it. And anyway, this part, and then here too, I would like to split the cell. Edit. Where was this? Split cells. Okay, so we loaded this one. Now I define this function, and now I can run this interaction, so the interactive function from here, and it gets the f as a parameter and x just a number here. What it gets you is this thing that you can draw, and this is actually the input for the function f. So this function, this interact now, will return the value that the user set here. So you can create a little GUI here inside where you would like, let's say you have an image and you would like to see how that image changes as some value changes. And then you would have the code that generates the image and gets the value here. So value from here. Okay. And that's what is displayed currently at this location. Oh, now I know why I had the semicolon. See, I have this code. So because this returns a function, and Jupyter Notebook just prints here whatever this code returns. But if I have a semicolon here and press enter, then it doesn't do that. So that's why I had the semicolon. I already completely forgot about it. Okay, so here is another function I defined, and I also defined this one, even though I don't, need that for now. This interaction just gives you a checkbox, so it's true or false. Okay, and this one gives you both. Okay, so it allows you to change the values and check the checkbox, and the function itself is based on why it returns x or minus x. So it can be a complex interaction. So using these, well, these are just three simple examples. You can create some interactive UI inside Jupyter Notebook.
Yeah, this is actually useful because I was going to ask how can Jupyter Notebook deal with GUI codes? So if you're actually making an interface like that,
yes,
programming, how can it show that those type of codes? It can't, can it?
You talk about TK?
Yes.
No, so you wouldn't mix the two. So it would either so when you write TK, that's just application programming. It's not research or data or anything, right? So that you would, for example, that definitely you would use in PyCharm for that.
Okay.
But you could create a GUI for inside Jupyter Notebook using these features, which can be extremely useful again during research. So you're playing around with various numbers, and instead of typing in the values, you can just drag them and click on checkboxes and so on. Okay, and I guess here there is the list of widgets. So you remember these are called widgets. And so it has a slider, it has tons of them. Okay. So in text, I guess that can allow us to type in a file name, for example. So you can make the code not use a fixed file name, but allow the user to type in the file name. Probably, I don't know. Okay. And then I guess this is now going to the last example, is the Jeans notebook, which I don't remember what it's going to do. Yeah, so that's the bad example. That I have the data, the resulting data here. So when I saved it, I mistakenly saved it with the resulting data. Okay, and I guess this is just the file somewhere that I had and loaded. But now, if I rerun this won't work because this file is not there. Okay, so sometimes you might want to keep the data in because you don't distribute the file, but you would like to distribute the resulting Jupyter notebook so someone can look at the data. And sometimes you would prefer just to clear the whole data, all the cells, and just keep the files there. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. Now we really have finished the slides. So thank you for watching and during the whole course. And we probably going to, I don't know, see a few solutions from you maybe later on for some exercises, and hopefully we'll also see the project, some project that you can do, and then we might be able to record that as well in video if it's possible. But for now, this is basically material. I hope you learned a little bit and enjoy your time programming.
Yes, definitely. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you very much. And I think it's going to be very useful.
I hope so. Okay. So see you. Bye-bye.
See you.